Since Fritz Lang first presented the android Maria in the 1926 film Metropolis, nearly human robots have been a staple of science fiction. From Metropolis Maria to Star Wars C-3PO to Blade Runner's Replicants, something about androids has captured our imaginations. Are we seeking some sort of mechanical slave? Could there come a time that we might be able to create machines indistinguishable from ourselves? So, what are little girls made of? Sugar and spice and everything nice, according to some. According to Star Trek, however, little girls and boys may be made of something else entirely.
Play that role, I had to really go within myself and say, I'm half real and I'm half not real, but I have to appear real until a certain point in the story.
I'm Andrea. You must be Christine. And you must be Captain Kirk of the Starship Enterprise.
You'll see with each little nuance, which I can see, was very, very planned. To create the role to where I was slowly becoming human, not really knowing it, being sort of confused.
I do not understand. Why are you unhappy? You are with Roger again.
And I worked very hard developing that character, and I felt it was a very good acting part on my part.
Kiss Captain Kirk. Now strike him. You see? There's no emotion in her. No emotional involvement. She simply responds to orders.
Okay, we're deciding the outfit. And Bill Tice was a fantastic costumer. So he came up with this concept of like doing this crisscross deal, which meant that I could not wear a bra because it was would show on the back. The other thing too, at that time, you were allowed to have cleavage in the front, but no cleavage on the side. They had a censorship person on the set every day to make sure there was no side cleavage, and they put toupee tape on the side of the costume, so nothing showed on the side. I knew it was going to be a very sexy outfit. Me trying to make the transition from child to adult woman, I didn't mind the fact that they were showing me as a sexual, sensual woman. That I felt was good for my career. As I said, though, the acting was the real issue. To overcome my costume was my challenge.
I'm sure you recognize actor Ted Cassidy as the android Ruck. Ted was probably best known for his years as the monosyllabic butler, Lurch, on The Addams Family. And if you don't recognize his face under all of that makeup, you can't mistake Ted's rather distinctive voice, which, by the way, was the voice of Balak in an earlier Star Trek episode, The Corbomite Maneuver. Another, shall we say, prominently featured android in this episode is Andrea, played by Sherry Jackson. Andrea is wearing an outfit created by Star Trek costume designer William Tice. While Bill Tice was responsible for all of the costumes for the original Star Trek series, including our uniforms, the designs he's most remembered for are the ones that left little to the imagination. Let's just say that in most of his creations, there was no doubt as to exactly what little girls were made of.
I've never been a real aficionado of Nurse Chapel. I figured she was kind of weak and namby-pamby. I mean, after all, here she was a doctor, And in order to find a lost fiancé, she takes a reduction in rank and pay and signs on board this ship and goes out to find her fiancé.
I understand you gave up a career in bio-research to sign aboard a starship.
I know he's alive down there, Captain. She finds him. He turns out to be an android. Now, he's not going to do her any good. She immediately signs on board this ship again for another 5-year mission, again at a reduction of rank and pay, falls in love with a Vulcan who only comes in heat once every 7 years. Now, this woman is a loser.
Thank you for letting me make the decision, Captain. I'm quite certain I'm doing the right thing.
This is not the sign of a real strong woman.
She's staying
to me.
with the ship.
And I kind of reject women who aren't, who are that way, I guess in real life. And perhaps even afterwards, in looking back, maybe that's why I feel that way about her.
Well, I only met Leonard Nimoy just a little bit. He just had a small part in the one I was in. He probably won't like me for saying this, but I know he didn't like his ears. And I was told in the makeup department, don't mention his ears. And I went, no, okay, I won't. But he was, this is only the 10th segment, so he was like really uncomfortable being pegged with these ears, which I understand did cause him problems later on, that he was kind of identified with the ears.
Security, Spock here. Status of your landing party?
Ready and standing by, sir.
Have them meet me in the transporter room after the captain has beamed down.
But Shatner was his sexy, charming self, And I must say, when he kissed me on screen, he really kissed me. And if you'll notice when you're watching, when he's kissing me, and when we pull apart, not only is my lipstick gone, but my lips are like swollen a little. He really kissed me. Oh, and then another little tidbit is they had to shave his chest for that. Did you know that? Because he had to be cloned and be shown naked. Mr. Roddenberry felt that Captain Kirk wouldn't be hairy. So they shaved his whole chest, and he kept complaining, I'm itching.
Are you all right?
As far as I know.
What Our Little Girl's Made Of was the first of many episodes to deal with the theme of man versus machine. Even though Star Trek was dependent on technology for its basic premise, there was a definite anti-technology theme to many of the stories. During the 1960s, the growth of the computer as an irreplaceable part of society had many people frightened. The idea of computers taking over our lives was a theme in much of the fiction of the time. In fact, one of the most famous science fiction films of all time, Arthur C. Clarke's 2001 A Space Odyssey, featured a computer, the HAL 9000, having a mind of its own and killing its astronaut companions. Man versus machine. Star Trek would return to it again and again. And Roger Corby would be the first in a long line of computers vanquished by Captain Kirk and the crew of the Enterprise.